Hello.
Hi, happy Music Monday, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. We have Robbie here from Voom. How are you doing?
Doing very well. Just got off. We actually played the Bitter End on Friday night, which was our first show in New York in a year, like everybody else, and so still coming off the shakes from that one, but
Nice.
having a good weekend. Glad to be here. You know,
Awesome.
I
Yeah,
should,
I figured it was a good time for you to come on because you just played your first show back and wanted to hear about the whole experience.
yes. I tune in all the time, and I think this is like my fourth or fifth time. Hey, Annie, if you need someone on the show, I'm available. But so it all worked out, and I'm so happy to be here and stuff. So. Even
So
though
how was it playing?
I have like four screens going on, so I'm gonna if I'm not looking at the right place most of the time, it's because I'm wandering off. But I'll try and rein it in.
Yeah. How was it at the bitter end?
It was interesting. It's we're coming, I guess, off this COVID, the full COVID regulation stuff, so that they're making exceptions or maybe not making exceptions, more like releasing some of the regulations as we become more safe, and we see what works and what doesn't work or whatever. So we were working under COVID regulations at the show. It wasn't like a completely open kind of deal.
Right.
And so it was interesting following the rules, not just for us, but for guests and the venue. And nobody really knew what the rules exactly were going to be on Friday, because the city and the state seems to change them. One day it's one rule, then the next day it's another rule, and they don't, there's no warning, there's no written memo like, hey, get ready for this day, we're going to change it. They just kind of do it.
Right.
So there's a lot of confusion, but we got through it, and it was good to be out there again, and having that connection in real life between the stage and music and the audience and your friends and stuff like that, and not just kind of doing everything in a stream way or a TV way, which is great, but it kind of impersonal, just reading people's conversations on the screen. Hey, thank you for tuning in or whatever. There's something missing about being there in person and seeing people's reactions and talking to people and playing to an audience rather than a camera.
Oh,
so it
sure.
was wasn't the same like it was pre-pandemic, but it's getting there. So
Right. I figured that too. Like the first few shows back, everyone's going to be like super awkward, like more awkward than like musicians and audience members already were when you're like, oh, hey, what's up? Now it's kind of like, hey, can I, like, did you set up a merch booth? Was it kind of like, maybe let's not do that? Like, what was there any rules to that at all?
Yeah, there were. So I'll go through, if you don't mind. It's going to be a little long-winded, but I'll try and go through all the rules as we experience them, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So as far as, like, I guess New York knows, right, is that I heard on March 4th or May 4th that they let people sit at the bars and drink at the bar, and you don't have to have a table with table service.
Right.
And then May 7th was supposed to be 75 capacity for the venues or the bars, whatever. Unfortunately, a place like the Bitter End in New York City follows Broadway rules, which are not the same as bar and restaurant rules, which we didn't know. I don't even think they knew at the time. I think they got that email or whatever that day, but so they were still at 50% capacity and table service only, and the 6-foot rule, and you also can't sit people at the tables that don't know each other, because then it defeats the purpose. So it was interesting trying to get people who bought tickets pre-sale that sold, the show sold out, which was cool, but trying to get everyone that got tickets to find a seat for them with somebody they knew, so they weren't breaking the rules, because and no offense to the Bitter End, but they're a legendary, more established venue in New York. They're more susceptible to somebody rolling in and checking on them more so than our favorite local dive bars with bands in the back would be,
Right.
So they were very,
they're right on Bleecker Street in the middle of tons
Yeah.
of stuff. So
Yeah, so they were very by the book and very no, I wouldn't say scared. That's not the word. It was more like diligent or responsible
right.
and respectful for the rules. So they really did everything by the book, which was more difficult for us. But at the end, it all worked out, and it made for a safer experience for everybody
That's
who,
good.
because we're still not out of this completely,
Yeah.
So as
Well,
far
I'm
as
glad that's, you hear some of the places doing the not so good thing, which gives a place like the Bitter End, who's doing their best to, play by the rules to make sure that bars can start doing this the right way, So I'm glad to hear you had that. It might have been a weird experience, but at least it's like a step in a good direction. So,
right. So
and
yeah,
you wouldn't expect anything else from a venue like that.
Right,
That's like
right.
a legendary, legit. And do they
Right.
serve food there?
They do now, I think.
Okay, 'cause I was gonna say I didn't think they.
I didn't think so
did.
before, but I think they do now. Maybe, I don't know.
Mhm.
I don't remember. I don't remember, to be honest. I don't remember seeing. I don't want to say. If they're supposed to serve food, they do.
Right, got
We'll
it.
put it like that. I don't.
But I think that's also why it took them longer.
I didn't eat, but
right.
If they're supposed to serve food, they do. So
yeah, I was gonna say I think they didn't in the first years ago.
Right.
From what I remember.
Yeah, they didn't have food 2 years ago, I guess.
Right, which a lot of bars, were like,
Right.
okay, let's do something with food.
Yeah.
Which on that block, I was actually in the city last week. It's all covered with the little
Huts, tiki huts.
outside.
Outdoor
so now,
seating.
now in New York City, if you thought there was nowhere to park, now there's really nowhere to park.
Well, what was funny is my singer Danny Mustang. He has a car, and we all take the train. But he drove in because he lives, it's easier for him. So we take full advantage of that. We pack his car full of all the gear from the studio and bring it in. And he had to not even like find a spot. He couldn't even pull over and drop this stuff off because all those outdoor dining huts are just, the
entire block.
The entire block, which is really strange. Even at I guess they leave out some cutout for the fire hydrants.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not enough for a car to pull in. So even he had to go like to the avenue, and then you're blocking traffic, and then we're still like walking our stuff down a block, which was a little bit of a hassle. Yeah. But I mean, we respect that restaurants and bars have to do what they have to do to stay in business. It just seemed a little like you said, it's a little bit more congested in the city than normal, And which is funny is the Bitter End being a venue, they have to follow different rules than bars. So right next door on either side of the Bitter End is Wicked Willie's and something Petunia or Tulip Bar or something like that, whatever. Right. And both of them had people sitting at the bar, sitting at the tables, having drinks, walking around like 75% capacity. It looked almost normal. And then the Bitter End was like had tape on the floor of where you're allowed to walk and stuff like that. So it was just it's
odd. I think those, but I did pass by because we've played Wicked Willie's before. I think they just like nixed even having a band for now, and they just put tables and they're just operating as a restaurant for the time being.
That's exactly what they did. What they did.
Yeah.
So,
but yeah, that whole area, I was walking around there because I haven't been there in so long, and it was just like all of Bleecker Street and McDougal. It's just like the street and the restaurant, outdoor dining huts, just like everywhere. Like cars could barely fit through the streets there.
Oh, we were outside for a little bit just hanging out, and because another bad side about this is that the Bitter End made the decision to have multiple bands play each night, which is good for the bands because they could rotate and stuff. Mm-hmm. But what sucks is that they have to sanitize these tables and get people out to keep COVID to a minimum, whatever. So as soon as we were done playing, it was pretty much last call. They rushed everybody out that were sitting at the tables to come see us, and like they rushed us out as well so they could get the next band in and their tables sat, which kind of made it difficult to, like, as you mentioned, the merch table. We didn't really have one of those because that took up precious table space where people could sit and buy tickets, whatever.
Right.
And as soon as we were done and people left, like people couldn't even stand outside because there's nowhere really to stand because there's a whole bunch of people waiting to get in and then the outdoor dining. So people kind of scattered, and it was weird that as much as we loved playing in front of people in an audience and having our friends and family and fans there, as soon as we were done, they were all gone. So we didn't, I mean, a couple people we got this, like we chased them down, but by the time we got our gear out and we were in the middle of the street and we had to find the car and do this and whatever, everyone was gone. So we didn't really get to see many people, except whoever managed to go next door and get a table, one of those outside tables. And the reason I bring that up is because cars were still going down the street, and every so often you'd get a car mirror that would hit the little huts. They have like little windows, either fiberglass or whatever, and they would hit the huts because it was such a narrow opening. If somebody, usually an SUV that didn't see or who knows, but it was definitely you'd be hanging out, ha 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 ha. Right. What the hell is that? Like a. So it
typical
kept you
New York City, right?
Your toes. Yeah. Well, yeah. So I grew up here, so I kind of like. I was like, oh, just another noise, and then everybody else at the table jumped.
Yeah. This is normal. Our Grumpy here says that sounds incredibly dangerous for everyone involved.
Good. Yeah. Good. It's rock and roll. Rock and roll is inherently dangerous.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Even if you're not even going to see the band, you're just eating next door. It's yeah.
Welcome to New York's getting back to normal. I love it.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
without a little danger to get your blood going, you need a little bit. Yeah. Not everything can be eating, cake and stuff. So, but
yeah, it makes it more fun experience that you just have me eating dinner and might get a car mirror in your dish.
Yeah. Right. I'm also, it made it a lot easier to get an Uber. They tapped on the window when they were there and you just jumped in and you crawled.
Yeah.
And I just want to let everyone know that's listening or whatever that these stories may or may not be embellished for entertainment purposes. So is that exactly what happened? It's what if nobody else was there but me, that's what happened, I guess. So
But it is a tight squeeze in the city, and I'm sure that happened. I wouldn't doubt that at all that's happened.
Yeah, it's always been a tight squeeze in general, and then city bikes and then outdoor seating and stuff like that, and and New York it's not like this is outdoor seating in California or Florida. The New York winters are rough. We did a whole winter, and we had that big snowstorm this year that we didn't have in years before. So it's like you can't just put out a tent. It has to be a structure that won't be in shambles and collapse with or without people in it. You know what I mean? It's so they're built well and stuff. They make it a little tight. So what do you?
Oh yeah. We do. Well, we have a question in the chat about your websites and where to buy a CD, but I did want to
there we go.
Throw this in there too that you recorded with our producer, your producer Dave Caruso, our favorite. How was that experience, and that's coming available soon, right? Or is it out?
So I'm gonna tell a little story.
Okay.
This is
story
how
time.
This is how much I guess everyone in our music scene or whatever trusts each other or whatever. This is how word of mouth works, and I love it. Mm-hmm. So for those of anyone that don't know, Annie and I go way back. We
went to college together.
Yes. And I may have had some part in Jackknife Stiletto, which I hold dear to my heart every day. So we were Voom was looking to record some songs and stuff like that and get them out there. And I reached out to Annie and she said, oh, she works with this guy, Dave, and he's a cool dude. And their CD or whatever is pretty rad. So I was like, all right, good. I like the way it sounds. They're cool girls. If they say he's cool, he must be cool. Let's meet with him. And we met with him a couple times and he's, we hit it off. We were all on the same page. So we decided to work with him and then we did. And this was all pre-COVID. Mm-hmm. So then when we decided, we were like, all right, we're going to start working with each other in April. or whatever, or May of 2020. And then March came and April came and May came. We were like, actually, let's wait. So finally, we, I guess sometime in the summer, they lifted the restrictions in Long Island to make it easier for people to go out and eat, dining and stuff. So Dave living in Long Island, and that's where his studio is. We were in the city. Nothing was going on in the city. So we went out to work with him on a very restricted basis, just to keep everybody healthy and safe, with one or two people in the studio at once, if we could help it. Whoever needs to be there was there. Whoever didn't need to be there wasn't. We had the Lysol sprays out and the masks on, and we were very careful. Yeah. And we got it done as best we could until like I said, just because of and then the snowstorm and things like that, we was very, just everybody being safe and their own personal scheduling. We didn't finish up till about, I guess, this February.
Right.
So we will have a full album out hopefully by Christmas, because what we are doing is we're releasing every song one at a time on Spotify and Bandcamp, because it makes it for those people that don't know, it's the way these computer algorithms work is they kind of promote your new release first for like a brief period of time, like a few weeks, and then they stop promoting you in their playlists. But Spotify doesn't know the difference between one song, a single that's a new release, and 10-song album that's a new release. So they'll either promote one song on an album and then stop after 2 weeks, or one song single. So the way we found the best way to I don't say to feed into the algorithm or help ourselves is to release one song about every month as a single. And Spotify's been pretty good about putting us in those shuffle playlists with bands that we sound like or whatever. And so that being said, we do have, I think, 8 songs that are coming out every month. So if you don't have Spotify or Apple Music, we have been putting them on Bandcamp, which is wave quality audio on Bandcamp, and I think they're free to stream, and it might be like pay what you want to download. So you could hear the new stuff we've been doing every month. There's a new song on Bandcamp, and with Bandcamp is the songs come out 1 month on Bandcamp before they do on streaming services like Spotify and Apple Music and Tidal or whatever. So if you're like a fan, or you're interested in hearing it before everyone else, you could get those songs first on Bandcamp.
Awesome.
Before they start streaming.
Very
And actually 6 songs. We're not done with the last 2, but all 6 songs were done with Dave at Dave's studio. I call it Betamax Studio. I don't know. There's really no name. It's just Dave's studio, but whatever. And they were all done there. And he, he was the tracking engineer and the mix engineer, and he co-produced it with me. And we're real happy with it. We're real proud of it. They all came out sounding, kick ass. We're only a 4-piece band. So like live or rehearsal, whatever, we definitely get done what we can do as four pieces. All 4 of us sing, and we wrote our parts to be interesting, so they play with each other, and we have effects pedals and stuff like that. So everything sounds good live. I'm not saying it sounds bad, but once we started to hear things back from Dave as we added individual layers, we didn't have to worry about playing live. They turned into these, professional sounding songs that we're really happy about.
I love Guitar Day. I know. I'm like, we've spent like hours playing with pedals and sounds and stuff. We're like, all right, let's just take let the ears breathe, and then we come back another day and we're like, let's add more stuff. It's just so much fun.
And that's the beauty of the studio. It's a lot. A lot of people are in a camp where like if you can't do it live, you shouldn't do it on a record. Like some people think that way. I disagree, because these records, they're what you think up. They're your creations, and they're snapshots of time. So once you print it to record or CD or digital, whatever, you can't really go back and change them. So why, we could tomorrow decide we're gonna just hire 4 more people in the band, and then we're an 8-piece and whatever to recreate the album. So why, when you're in that studio, it's kind of your duty to explore every option that you hear and you feel, and to get your message, which is the song, across to the audience. So I think we all did a great job with that in the studio and stuff.
Yeah, I heard your the first single that you have out sounds really awesome. It's on Spotify.
Yeah, it's called "Coming Out Swinging." It was the really last song we wrote out of the batch, because we were sitting around like kind of taking things baby steps, and we're like, wait, I think Joey, my drummer, actually said something along the lines of, when we get back to gigging and stuff, we got to be coming out swinging, ready to knock people out, like not just pussyfooting around, whatever.
Right.
And I laughed, and I was sitting there. I was like, yeah, coming out swinging, like boxing or whatever. And then I'm sitting there, and I'm like, yeah, coming out swinging. What a great thing to say. Yeah. And I was like, and I got, guys, I'll see you later. And I went home, and I fucking got this riff, and I started writing, and that was like the last song we finished up. But we decided it was going to be the first single that we released, because it kind of sets the tone for everything else,
Nice. That's awesome. Oh, and Tequila, right? That's one of your songs too.
Yep. Yeah, that's from that's an old one, but it's an oldie but a goodie. Still a good party playlist tune. I think I mean I like them all, but of course.
Nice. That's awesome. And are you doing like because I see all of your, as a fan of social media branding and things like that, you guys have been doing really awesome. I love all your artwork. Are you doing different artwork because they're singles, or are you is it still like just one main like album art, and you're just using that for your singles? Or are you kind of branding each song type of thing since you're releasing them separate?
So we have a friend of ours named Misty Chamberlain who actually does a branding design for artists, for companies, businesses, anybody. And she really takes her time, and she's very diligent and asks you so many questions, and you're like, wow, why is she asking so many questions? But then you get back, the art she gets back to you is phenomenal. And you can find her on Instagram at Made by Misty, Misty with a Y, Mystie. And yeah, she like whether you're in a band or you have a small business, or you just want to brand yourself or your own social media, she handles all that. And it's really cool. She got us multiple logos and artworks, a font, different color schemes, holographic pictures, moving pictures, GIFs, album artwork for every single. And then we told her that eventually we'll want to put stuff on vinyl. So that requires a book. She put that together.
Cool.
So much stuff. So that's what we did. It was very convenient for us to just hire somebody to do it instead of doing it herself. Because I draw stick figures, and that's not exactly the most eye-catching thing for a band like us. So she did a great job. Like she's seen us live and pictures, and then she just dove in and then came back with stuff that was completely unique, because she created it herself based on our projected image and our influences and stuff like that. So I mean, highly recommend it to anybody. So yes, when every single comes out, it'll have its own artwork,
cool,
which is pretty cool. It's again, I mean, I know we said we were getting into that Spotify algorithm thing, but I'm not just a music fan. I'm also like I don't want to say history fan, but I kind of look into history and stuff like that. I'm like the history of music, whatever. And I think that as I look at things that are going on now, like people don't really buy albums, people buy singles, they stream them, they don't really, they only buy them if they really love them, etc. I mean, it kind of reminds me of like the 50s and the early days of music, like the 50s and early 60s, where bands or artists would put out a single on a 45 or a 7-inch record with a B-side on the back, and a B-side was like not a good song. You would only like it if you really liked it, but it didn't go anywhere. So your single would be on the single, and then they'd have a B-side just to kill space. And then in 6 months, they'd have a record which had 2 or 3 of those singles, none of the B-sides, and then like a bunch of covers or songs nobody really cared about, like just to fill out the record. Like, it sounds silly, but it's if you really think about it, like there weren't, at least for the first couple records, like people put out, that there was a lot of covers, or if artists didn't write their own songs, you'd have like even Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin, Sammy Davis Jr., those guys, they all sang the same songs. They'd have out records with they all sang the same songs and stuff like that, and they'd be singing each other's songs. And it was cool to hear someone else sing that song, even though it was known as a Frank song, let's say. But in reality, you'd have people write songs, they'd give them to 10 different artists, and they'd use it to fill up their records. And, people still got into music. It wasn't like they forgot about music. And I feel kind of like in today's time, it's like it was back then. It's more about the single and putting out a good song, and then giving people that really want to buy the record a record of like almost like a compilation of all these singles or whatever.
That's like legitimate, like what we're doing. Right.
Well, that's, I mean, if you think, if you think about it, like it's, I mean, I'm not going to get too deep into it because it's economics and stuff like that. I mean, there's a lot that I could go this whole show talking about just that. But the reason I say that is because,
and vinyl's good too now. So
right. I just got myself a record player. I'm stoked on that.
Yeah.
But it's how many, even cars don't even have CD players in their cars anymore, new cars.
Mm-hmm.
So, to put out digital albums is a lot of time, and it's just, people just want to hear those good hit songs, those singles. And I feel it's a lot better for us too, because we could focus on just writing one great song at a time instead of worrying about, all right, well, if we want to put out these 2 great songs, we have to find 8 more songs, good or not, to put on a CD to put out. So I feel this is a lot easier for the musicians to get their music out there to the people that want to hear it in a fast or a quick, prompt fashion, instead of having to wait months or years for a song that they finished, and then times change and whatever.
Yeah, exactly. For sure.
So,
do you guys have any, or do you have a release date for your second single, or not yet? Like, do you have certain days you're thinking of?
Yeah, everything is coming out on the 15th of the month. So
okay, cool.
May 15th. So this Friday, we will release a single called Dangerous 2. It's
nice.
It's Grease inspired, like the movie. So it's kind of got a retro feel to it and stuff like that. Different than Coming Out Swinging. It's more of a dancing song. And then the next single, June 15th, is a song called Girls Are Trouble. And I'm not going to say anything about that till after this Friday, but you'll be able to hear it. I also want to say thank you to Alice, Grumpy Steen, and Tim for tuning in today. I was on private chat this whole time, and I was like, oh, I can't believe nobody's here. Or
you're on the wrong.
I'm like, where are you getting these questions from? And then I clicked over on comments, and I'm like, oh. So thank you guys for checking in, and we'll answer every question we have and stuff like that. So.
Oh yeah, if anyone's got questions about anything, feel free to write them in. Yes, Grumpy says he doesn't even know if his car has a CD player in it.
I don't think. I mean, I don't know. Like, I don't have a car myself because I'm that type of city person. But like everyone, my sister, my mother, and my father, who all like live around me, and I mooch off of them and borrow their cars, like a true struggling musician. They all got cars within the last 5 years, and none of them have CD players. My sister's car, I think has Bluetooth, I think. Right. But my mother's car and my father's car just have like little the auxiliary ports, like the 3.5 millimeter jacks for headphones, and they have the USB ports. So you could plug a phone or a computer in to charge it / link up. Right. But no CD player in any of them. And they're all at least no more than 5 years old. We'll put it that way.
That's crazy. I still use mine from time to time, but yeah. I mean, I know the ease of just putting on Spotify to listen, but when we were touring and stuff, people still wanted to buy the physical CDs at shows and things like that. But I think that's also, it's a good and bad thing with Spotify too. But it's like someone wants to support your band, they still want to buy a CD or a vinyl, something physical to support you. But then also, then they just go and listen to you on Spotify, which is also awesome because then you're, getting the 0.000, 1 cent.
What I will say about that is that. And I guess we are going to dive into this a little bit, which is great.
Well, we're both music business
right.
geeks,
I don't know who's listening, who is in the music industry or whatever. But we'll break it down real quick. Is that like in my touring, like band and touring experience is, I find a lot of times people would buy a CD from you. Oh, you guys are really great. They'll buy it, and then they'll throw it in their car and they'll listen to it later, maybe. Or maybe it just goes in the pile of CDs that like they want to listen to. They like you and they want to listen to it, but they really don't. They always go to their go-to, which was like the 6 CDs in the visor up top. If it doesn't make it up there, it doesn't make the cut. You know what I mean? And
you'll never know. You have to go in all these cars.
And I appreciate the support and the love and somebody wanting that. I do. I'm not discrediting that. But on the other side of that coin is that, do I really quote unquote care if somebody just gives me money for support and doesn't listen to me? Or would I rather somebody, listen in a car or wherever and tell people about the music and say this is good, like really get enjoyment out of the music versus just getting that one-time purchase fee. You know what I mean? And so a lot of people look at albums as money and Spotify as that 1/100th of a cent per stream, and I get it. But at the same time, like, it's much easier for somebody to make their own playlist and put your song into their playlist on Spotify like that day or whenever. And then even if they don't think about it, it'll come up randomly in the playlist and they'll enjoy it and listen to it. And you still get the stream, which counts towards your streaming total. But then if a friend listens to their playlist, they get to listen to it. If somebody like we have actually a friend of ours who lives in Israel and put us on a playlist out there. And we actually got a bunch of streams, I think in the last week, more from Israel than anywhere else in the United States other than New York, because it's just on a playlist and that's what people listen to. And it's in where that person goes to university, it's just picking up a little steam. And we're not getting a ton of money out of it, but
but the sharing
our music is getting out there, which to me is like, I've always heard successful people, not me, but successful people have always said that, if you do something because you love it or because you have a passion for it and you do it right, the money will come later. But if you do something for the money, it's probably not, you're going to miss. Yeah. So, I mean, that's the way I look at it is, a lot of people are starting to take their music off Spotify now because it's on Bandcamp and you're getting more money from that. But like, to be honest, if I get in my friend's car, I don't have to carry a book of CDs with me, and get in my friend's car, which we used to do. Oh, I got my CD wallet. Let's pop in CDs, and then whatever. I could, pop in and, ride with a bunch of friends and put on, oh, you like punk music? Oh, I scroll through my phone. Oh, listen to Jackknife Stiletto and Bluetooth it right in or whatever. Or, oh, you like heavier stuff? Here's Craving Strange. Here's Revel 9. Here's Va Va Voom or poppier stuff, whatever. Va Va Voom. So, you could listen to a song. You don't have to take it out, put it in the CD, which, I mean, I'm making it sound like a lot worse than it is, but it's really just Spotify makes things so convenient that, we have to remember as artists that when we're trying to get our music out there, I'm not trying to say people are lazy, but you have to make it easy for people to be able to get your music. Like how many times have somebody said, oh, you could have this song for free if you just go to my website, sign up for the email list, do this and that. I'm like, and people just stop listening. They're like, that's okay. I don't have to listen to your music. I could listen to anything, like, for me, it's like, hey, how can we hear your song on Spot? Here's this link to Spotify right here. Q code, just take a picture. There's my song, save it to a playlist. And now you have it, and it's so easy.
Right, and the ease and accessibility is definitely a.
So we put out a record last summer that obviously we didn't tour in support of or anything like that or play any kind of gigs last summer because of COVID. But we kind of did the old way of releasing all 5 songs at once and getting it out there and putting it on Bandcamp and making CDs and stuff like that. And we actually, because of COVID, they told us they couldn't print the CDs because they didn't have the materials or something.
Okay.
So we didn't print the CDs, and it actually worked out for us because we would have had all these CDs sitting around, whatever. So this year we tried the new model, the more modern model of releasing singles and waiting to put an album out till they're all out, you know.
Right.
And to be honest, that is working out a lot better for us in the streams category because we see more people are listening more often,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a lot easier to get our music to people right away, which we're hearing back a couple days later from people. Hey, I heard your Spotify, or is this song from this person, or was in this playlist, and it's really cool. You got any more stuff? And then now we have a relationship with somebody, we could redirect them. But if you don't get like your foot in the door in the beginning, it's people have so much stuff going on in their lives. They're so busy. They're bombarded with so much information on YouTube and TV and radio. Like, for them to remember that one band and come back to that CD that's in the back seat of their car that they threw as they were taking their shirt off and putting on a new shirt because they were so sweaty from being at the club. You know what I mean? It's like you have to kind of think outside of yourself and think about other people. You know what I mean? So that's what we've been trying to do, and so far so good. But it definitely is a different business model. And like I said earlier, we kind of take that business model from almost like the early days of records, like the 50s and 60s, where they had, more, there were no real major labels. There were more independent labels, like in your town. One guy had the ability to record a record, and now that was the guy, that was the label. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's kind of like with us is, I don't know what you use. Some people use CD Baby. Some people use TuneCore. We use DistroKid. So, your job is to make the music. You get it to DistroKid, and then that becomes your distributor / label that goes out. And then you could, like, you guys printed your own vinyls and CDs and stuff. So you become your own label, and so it just puts more power in the hands of the artists and the fans. But you still, as an artist, you still have to remember that you have to make things easy for your fans, because there's so much else they could be doing. For them to even devote an ounce of their time to you, or attention, is something you should appreciate, and you have to take advantage of. Kind of, not advantage of in a mean way, but if they're showing in, if you got that spark, you kind of have to. You can't just light a fire with one match. You have to blow on. You have to feed it. You know what I mean? So it's something to do.
Mm-hmm. We do have a question. Did you have trouble coming up with any material during the pandemic? Some friends and bands have struggled to find inspiration, which you were kind of in the middle of recording, so I guess you weren't really. But you did write a song as well and then record it.
Well, yeah. So like, songwriting is a delicate process. That a lot of bands write songs together, in a room, in a jam, whatever, and obviously, if you take them out of that room, pandemic or otherwise, stuff's not going to get done because they're not together, So I definitely see how that could be a problem. I also know that a lot of people write through personal experiences. And if you're home and not out and having personal experiences, you're not going to be able to find that inspiration or that fodder, And I also know that I'm not gonna lie that a lot of people need to be in the correct mental state or place to write and be creative. And when a lot of your energy and stuff is focused on staying like physically safe, like actual safe and healthy, and not going to work and not knowing where your money's coming from or what's going to happen or next, or so many things, or just being isolated, put stress on your mind and your energy and stuff. So that really hurts the songwriting process, because everything is an energy, and when you devote a lot of your energy to one thing or a couple things, there's only so much to go around, so obviously keeping yourself alive is more important than writing songs. So a lot of times people put their energy in that, you know what I mean? So yes, it was difficult. I'm fortunate enough that my writing style or method is I kind of believe that inspiration comes when you're looking for it. Like I'm not personally the type of person that thinks, I mean, there are days where I'm just walking around, you know, and I have an idea and I start writing on it or whatever. But I think that it's very important as a songwriter, or, you know, to really like sit down every day or every other day or something like that and really just sit there and focus on writing with your phone away, the TV off. Like, even if you get nothing out of it, you're just training your brain and your mind that this 1 hour of like this time period is we're going to forget about everything else and kind of focus on the creative right now.
Right.
So for me personally, the only thing the pandemic really affected as far as writing new songs was that as many songs as I would write, they would kind of be sitting, like I would demo them on GarageBand on the computer and share them with the guys, but you didn't really get to hear them together being played in a room until things kind of slowed down in the fall with the pandemic.
Yeah.
And then at that point we kind of, you know, I know we only have 6 songs on this record with Dave, but there were, you know, I probably wrote 25 to 30 songs between let's say March 2020 and I guess Christmas, you know, when we really got into it. So it's you know, maybe like a song a week or something, but that's just my method. You know, my method is to sit down and hit it and get into it. And some days are better than others, you know, sometimes are easier than others, but you kind of have to get it done, you know? So, and I'm not downplaying anybody that, you know, had writer's block or had trouble writing or focusing, because that's a real thing. You know, I'm not saying it's not. Like I just said, I was just fortunate enough that I built a creative structure for myself that I always kind of make time for the creative. And I find that a lot of ideas and inspiration and things find me when I'm looking for it, you know, like, so that worked for me. I know and to answer Grumpy Steen, because now I could see it. A lot of people have struggled, and I've had this conversation with people because, you know, a lot of, as you know, musicians network and we talk to each other, and not just at shows, but, you know, on social media and stuff like that, or phone calls. And, you know, a lot of people have struggled with finding inspiration or finding their songs, you know, and I tell everybody, it's just, you kind of have to like, just put it into your calendar or something and put an hour aside every day, or even 20 minutes, just where you just sit down and, almost like meditation, just sit down and with a pen and paper, not a computer. I mean, you could use a computer or phone, but I feel like somebody has their phone, they get an alert, and then they go look at Facebook. Like, I don't do that. I use pen and paper, and then when I'm done, I transfer it to the computer or whatever. I type it in for people, but
yeah, sometimes just like being able to just sit down, just like write, even if nothing comes of it, at least you're like just just getting something out, or maybe in a month you go back to that and something else comes out of it, or just something, you know, at least just like keep your
even if you're just you keep a journal or a diary, you know, and you take 10 minutes before bed to just write what happened during the day in your little journal and how you felt about it. Like, and people think that's like a high school thing to do. Oh, Johnny didn't like me. He asked me what day it was. I said Wednesday or whatever, you know, whatever it is. You know, a lot of people think that's what it is, but it's not. If you do, I don't keep a journal, so I'm talking out of my ass. But if you keep a journal or a diary and you write down your thoughts and what happened, then, you know, eventually you might go back and recap the last week and find that you might find an emotion there or a situation that then you find your inspiration to expand that. So, you know, songwriters, and when I say like songwriters are kind of what makes, you know, you're kind of just reinterpreting reality and, you know, through your own lens, and then regurgitating into a story for others to feel, you know, because for the most part, all humans feel the same things and go through the same things. Maybe not exactly, but we all feel fear, love, hate, anxiety, hunger, you know, lots of things, you know, it's all kind of similar. So if you could find a way to tell that's your story or a story about one of those emotions or experiences in a way that other people could relate to, that is a song, and that's going to be a good song and a good story. And there's plenty out there to tell, so you just have to train yourself to find it and say it in your way that people can relate to.
Right.
So that's in the short answer, I found ways to stay writing because I have a writing structure that I kind of stick to, and that keeps me on the on the path.
I've tried to at least, I haven't really done full songs, and with us we haven't been rehearsing recently, so it's like, well, let me just at least write a bunch of riffs that, whenever like the thought comes, just write, so that when we are ready in the room, then there's just like stuff to choose from, and we'll just go with that, just so it's just like there, like even if I'm not writing, at least just pick up the guitar or something and just fiddle around, just to like, because sometimes you're just messing around playing another song and you're like, oh wait, but this sounds cool, like you never know when it's gonna. Well,
I've also been told in the past that, like you said, the song isn't in the writing, it's in the rewriting or the editing. And a lot of times you might have, and that's why I said, if you're not getting together with your bandmates, it's tough, because a lot of times I might have, or you might have a song that sounds okay, it's an idea, and then you realize that you actually have 3 songs, but you don't have 3 songs. You actually have 1 song. You just put them all together, and it becomes a really good song. You just you had to jam it out, and that's all in the edit and the rewrite and stuff. And sometimes I read about guys like, let's say, Bruce Springsteen or a lot of different people. I just use Bruce Springsteen for example, because when they were writing Born in the USA, he didn't write 10 songs. Here's 10 songs for the album. They had 70 songs between him and the whole band, and they just narrowed them down to the 10 best. And a lot of them, like when you have 70 songs, they're not all Born in the USA or Glory Days or whatever. Like most of them are shit. Like you have to, as a songwriter, you have to remember that most of your songs are shit. Like just, I don't know if I can curse.
For your 45.
Right. That's the B-sides. Right. It's just stuff. Kind of, you have to write garbage to strike, gold, so to speak. So if you have 70 songs, you can edit them down to 10 really good ones, and the better you are as a songwriter, the better you're going to be. But if you're like, oh, I need 10 songs for an album, let's write 10 songs. If you expect like the last 8 out of that 10 to be good, I'll tell you, they're not. And I've heard them, and they're not. So always, which again helps this Spotify algorithm thing without putting out CDs, is because you can get those 10 songs, narrow them down to that one, or combine them, record that, put it out, and now you have another month or two till you have to get that other song. So it's not like we need 10 songs right now.
Right.
And it also helps when I don't know. It just I think that there's a curtain in the music industry. A lot of people, they read these Rolling Stone interviews, and it's like, oh, you put out this great record. Yeah, it just came to us. That's a lie. Don't listen to that. People that successful people, very, very, very rarely do successful people like fall into success. Like, it might look like they fell into it. And I say this, I'll say this to anyone, young and old, whatever. It might look like you fall into it, but success is years of work, whether it's practicing your instrument, singing, taking care about how you sing to make sure you sound good, reading books to get a vocabulary to put in your songs that aren't just one word syllable answers. Like, oh, some people say, oh, this guy got lucky for meeting so-and-so from the label. Where was he? He was out at a show. All right, well, let me tell you musicians, if the only shows you go to are the ones you play, you're not going to people just aren't going to show up.
Right.
Like you have to go to shows. I mean, now in COVID, people, well, it's the pandemic. Well, once this is over, if you're not at every show at a local venue or someplace supporting everyone else, even for your own selfish reasons, to run into network, that's kind of what you have to do. And those you're more likely to run into somebody of importance when you're out than when you're home. No one's going to send you an email saying, hey, I heard your stuff. Like, I tracked you down. Nobody tracks you down. You got to be there. You have to see someone face to face. Yeah,
the new age of this, of no one's going to knock on your door. And
no, that's not happening. You got to be out doing the work, and when you do the work, the luck will find you. So, and I'm sure, and Annie can tell you the same thing in her experience. If she was just sitting at home writing great songs and hoping somebody would give her a record deal, that doesn't happen. You got to be out there working, doing things, talking to people, making your own luck, so to speak. So
Yeah.
I know that was a little off topic, but whatever.
No
it
worries.
is what it is.
Well, someone grumpy hoped that he just wants Pink coming and hanging out in his living room. That'd be fun.
I mean, she could because she does all those swinging acrobatic things on stage. So if you have maybe set up one of those swings or those silk monkey bar things.
Yeah, those rope.
Whatever. Then maybe you'll have a chance. You got to put in a little bit of work. Hang those scarves that she does her pull-ups on or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
If anybody doesn't know what just go type after this, not now, but after this, go on YouTube, look up Pink Live, and you'll see she does an acrobatic show. She's not just one of the most talented singers out there, but she does like an acrobatic Cirque du Soleil thing, which is really cool. But so maybe Grumpy Steen, maybe you have to set up a Cirque du Soleil monkey jump bar gym in your backyard.
That sounds fun.
And and attract people.
Someone.
I don't know. Yeah, someone. Maybe not pink. Maybe a purple. Maybe a fuchsia. But
yeah, that's the cover band of Pink.
Yeah, a pink cover band.
Fuchsia. Hi, we're Fuchsia Pink cover band. We are gonna wrap it up in a few minutes, but I did want to say how.
Holy cow! Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, we went by an hour very quick. I know we touched upon it very quickly, but we went to college together, and you're the reason we met Mel because you ran up to her and was like, "Hey, you're a drummer. My friends are looking for a female drummer. Call this person." So you were there in the early days. So.
And I still tell that story all the time because I'm so proud of it. Because look at what happened. It was
look what happened. Yeah.
One of my minor success stories. Or moderate success, whatever you want to say. Like
yes.
Sorry, I didn't have the $100,000 record label for you guys, but I did hook you up with a lifelong.
You did cross phone numbers. Friend. So yeah. At the good old Five Towns College.
Yeah.
So we do want you to plug all of your stuff again, just to make sure that we've got your stuff, and let everyone know what's going on with you guys.
So for those that are interested, our social media is very simple. It's Voom Rock at anywhere. So if you're on Facebook, it's at Voom Rock. All one word, no S at the end. Instagram, Voom Rock. Twitter, Voom Rock. Bandcamp, vavavoomrock.bandcamp.com. I don't know how it works on Spotify, but if you just type in Voom, just type in the name Voom, and we show up. And please go on social media of your choice, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, whatever, and you can send us a message. I'll probably read it and I'll probably respond. But we have some free merch like bandanas and koozies that we give out to anyone who's interested that messages us. We'll mail them right to your house, so you don't have to grab them from us and risk anything if you're still worried about the COVID stuff. And that our music is mostly available for free right now through streaming, or free through your subscription through your streaming service, or I think you could even get Spotify free. So I would ask that if anyone's interested, just look us up, put us on some kind of rock playlist or party playlist or upbeat, whatever, and stream us as much as you can if you like it, and reach out and we'll keep you in the loop for stuff like that.
Awesome.
And we appreciate that everybody's listening, and we hope everybody has a great time listening, and we hope to see you live someday very soon, hopefully in July.
Yeah, that would be great.
And moving forward.
For sure. I can't wait to hear the new songs, because if you're just tuning in later on, it was recorded by Dave Caruso, who's our producer, your producer, recording engineer extraordinaire, and all the work he puts out is always awesome. So I'm super excited to hear anything that he does. I'm not just saying that because he records us too, but everything you hear from, Craving Strange to you guys, like it's just all amazing. So
I'm not gonna lie, anyone could say they're a producer, and then you say, well, what's the stuff you worked on? And Dave said, here. And I listened to all of it. And I said, all right, this stuff, he's like a little Rick Rubin. Everything he touches is pretty dope. So
yeah,
from you guys and like you said, Craving Strange and I'm Midnight Mob and a lot. I've listened to those playlists, so I know the artists. I can't remember them right now, but I know you guys. I know
there's a playlist for that too, so everyone check it out.
Yeah, that's on. Yeah, you could look up. In fact, if you go on Facebook and message Voom, I could send you Dave's playlist as well, and you could hear all this good stuff he's worked on with Annie and Jackknife Stiletto and our band. They're all on those playlists too.
And we have a good comment from Tim. Thank you for tuning in, everyone. This is what I like about Music Monday. Found a new band. Awesome. That's what we like doing this.
Thank you, Tim. Hey, and actually, quick shout out to everybody here. Please, if you message me and say you were here, I'll send you a free tank top. You can see the pictures of tank top on the website. They're pretty cool. They're black, white, pink, or pink with a gold
what
lettering.
What if I message you? Will you answer?
Yeah. How about just text me?
Okay.
Or call me, or I'll spin by your house or something whatever. But so we're selling them. But if you're here and you message us and you want one, I'll get you one for free and I'll put you a little thank you packet together. You just need to give me your address, and that's it.
Awesome.
So that's our way of saying thank you.
Thank you for tuning in with us. I'm glad we got to catch up. And then on a last final note here, we like everyone to just leave off on like a positive note to kind of keep everyone through these times, whether for musicians or audience members. So what you got?
What I will say is that things are getting better. The weather's getting nicer. Everything's starting to open up. The clouds are clearing. People are getting back to work, and which gives them things to do and happier. So if you're feeling bummed out, we're all feeling bummed out. Things are going to get better very soon. And then we'll all be back to shows and having fun and seeing our friends and our family. So just stick it out a little bit more. We're right there. We're right there. So
awesome. Well, thank you very much. And thank you everyone for tuning in. And we'll see you next time.
Thank you, Annie.
Right. Thank you. Bye.